here and listening to people, drawing some kind of similarity or drawing some kind of references from a freedom fighting movement. And then you want to bring in democracy into it. It's quite absurd. We are talking about state that has gotten independent, and the independent state. We're not talking about a freedom fighting movement. Correct. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And so you don't talk about democracy into it. What we are talking about, how can we delegitimize the government that are oppressing our
to for you. Dikumibo. Umibo Jemono. Again, America, this our liberation will prove the real success. And we are getting connection from places to places. Watch the video. Toramaka. Metu yaka itu saya no dipa. Tu saya no dipa. Oh yeah.
People within our land. So it is not about democracy. It is when we have gotten our independence, we are going to practice the true democracy that will be drawn from our normal traditional rule models and whatever we want to do it to make it work for us.
So how do you give power to the people? How do you give power to the people?
It is not about, you don't give power to the people during a freedom fighting. You are fighting war.
You're fighting for freedom.
You do not give power to the people. You need to make sure you control the territory that the enemies and the oppressors are using to kill your people. First of all, control it by any means possible.
Let me come in.
Your rights as well.
Let me come in. The mere fact that we're talking about Ambazonia exists as a nation dating back to 1961, known as the former British Southern Cameroons. I want to go into the nitty-gritties, but Mr. Simon is absolutely right. If we're talking about functional states recognized by the United Nations, non-functional states that have not been recognized but seeking for their self-determination should not even be considered in the debate of a democracy, because we are freedom fighters. We are fighting to have freedom, which is a fundamental tenet of democracy. We are fighting to liberate ourselves, which means we are not even functioning within the so-called democracy. But let's look at it at African level, in general, across Africa. Is there democracy? Yes, there is a gradual movement towards democracy. People are increasingly speaking out. We've seen it in the case of Niger. There is mass mobilization at an African level. Diaspora contributions are also counting in. People are increasingly having mobile phones to counteract, to talk against the government, alternative media. This is exactly where we are driving to. And this is the Africa we want to see. However, we don't support any Western nation that wants to impose its sanctions on us for us to embrace their own ideologies. It would not work that way. That is where we keep having a conflict in democracy in Africa. But let's keep away all these quasi-states and non-functional or non-recognizable states by the United Nations.
Let me come in here to state that Ambazonia, the word, it was Southern Cameroons, and Ambazonia came after the 1980s. In the 1960s,
no, Ambazonia is just a name. It's just an appellation. It's just like Nigeria. Maybe
Ambazonia didn't exist before 1980.
Ambazonia is just a name. We can call it any name. We can call it Mimimefo. We can call it Ivo.
But
Ambazonia's name by nature is the former British Southern Cameroons. Let me use the word former British Southern Cameroons.
That was just to clarify the viewers that Ambazonia came later and that before was British Southern Cameroons.
I agree.
Mr. Tabang Ivo, so the question now is, we want power to the people. We want democracy in Africa. We want things to change. We don't want the dictatorship in Africa.
I agree.
How best can we go about it, making sure that the rights, the basic rights of citizens on the continent, the basic rights of people in our respective countries are being respected?
I have a parsimonial solution to this. Very simple. And I believe everyone on this panel will agree with me. The mere fact that we youths are sitting here to talk about democracy is a plus. However, we African youths are interested in using the social media for fashion, showbiz, Gucci, Versace, and all of those. When is the last time you saw African youths without an election phase coming up, without an electoral fraud happening? When is the last time you saw African youths talking about democracy, talking about elections, planning ahead? We never plan ahead. We only wait for when elections come. Then you see a non-social media candidate who has been preparing for the last 5 years or 7 years of his mandate, prop up with some clientelism, buying votes. He becomes the president through a legitimate election. I will explain why. Mr. Paul Biya of Cameroon won the elections legitimately and landslide victory in 2011. Tinubu also won the elections. He could be contested, but he won. Guess what? You cannot sit on the social media waiting for elections to come thinking that, oh, your social media candidate is going to be the president. It will not work that way. Votes don't come through social media. They come from the ground. You have to start preparing for political changes now. You don't need to wait 7 years to come after brandishing your Facebook pictures and the rest, engaging in showbiz and gossip news and the rest without any political participatory approach. You need to start planning now. Simon Ekpa, for example, is planning now for the Biafra he wants to see in future. It's not suddenly that he'll wake up and say, there is Biafra today. No, it's a long process. He has gone through struggles.
But
the youth must be aware that politics shape our future. And for us to have a bright future,
Mr. Tanko, let me disagree with you on one thing you said, that Bola Tinubu won the election. You don't just sit here and begin to make comments on other countries that you know nothing about. You don't know how the process of the election happened in 2023. So you can't sit here and say in Nigeria, Bola Tinubu won the election. He never won the election. He never won the election. Why would he sit here as a freedom fighter telling us how somebody won the election in Nigeria?
He's the president.
He can be a president. That is why we are seated here today to talk about.
Mr. Simon, there is one solution to this. We can go on to disagree and debate whether who won the election. But if we don't prepare now, we will have the same thing in the next 7 years. If we don't prepare now, we will keep complaining.
Okay, so let me come
please, Mimi, it is my turn. You called me. And please, Tanko, if you could,
gentlemen, let me come in now.
Bola Tinubu did not win the election. Bola Tinubu,
Mr. Simon, let me come in now to just ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How do we give power to the people? Because you are saying that today we are talking democracy. We want people to have the voice. We want things to work in favor of the people, and that you are ready to do what it takes for African youth to get there. How are you going about it, and what are you doing to make sure that power gets to the young people and that their rights are not being violated in the process?
Thank you very much. I'm going to give you a very straight answer to that. You know, I like this. Please, nobody should interrupt me, because this is a very good one. The way we are going to make Africa work and bring true democracy, either the democracy of using our own modus of democracy, like our own cultural and traditional norms, is by losing up, disintegrating Africa along tribal lines. That is number one step. Africa needs to be disintegrated along tribal lines so that you are going to have a nation with like-minded people, without anybody having a beef, without anybody not understanding your language, without anybody coming to the table where he is eating rice and you are eating a pounded yam, or that you don't understand what he's talking about when he is discussing with his brother. So we need to disintegrate Africa. This is what Europeans did. And they know the secret to the success of their democracy. Because once you have a divergent, if you have a diversity that is a very dangerous one, it can never work. Because everybody will want to, he wants something he wants for his people to happen. And it may be going the other way, conflicting the interest of the other. So for us to move forward in Africa, we need to begin to understand what did the Europeans do? What did the Europeans do to come to where they are today? They disintegrated along tribal lines. That's why in Scandinavia today, they have different languages. As smaller as they are independent. The Soviet Union fell and everybody disintegrated because they could not stand the heat of the diversity. When the diversity becomes so dangerous, it is what is happening in Africa today. So any for us to move forward, please, for us to move forward, like I said, we start from, I have been saying it, that Biafra is going to be the beginning of true democracy in Africa. And I repeat, I'm standing here to say it again, because in Biafra, once Biafra is actualized and becoming an independent state, we are going to have a loosed up confederation of Biafra, where every tribe, if I will use the word tribe, or every ethnic group that finds himself in Biafra will have independence and will have autonomy. They are going to have their own law.
Yes, Simon, let me ask you another question here.
That is the only way. That is the only way and the only time. Democracy.
Okay, Mr. Simon, are you saying that all the Igbo people should think alike?
I disagree.
No. It is not about everybody, Igbo people thinking alike. No, but we have one common thing. We have one thing in common: progressive, success, security.
Can I speak? Okay?
The issue now is, how do we attain progress? It becomes the issue to be debated. It becomes the issue to be debated within the government. Okay?
Yes, we have to go around.
These policies are moving clearly. These policies
has to talk a little bit before we come to.
Can you just stop interrupting, please? Every Igbo man wants to have a good road. Every Igbo man wants to go to a good school. Every Igbo man wants a good hospital. Every Igbo man wants a good life. So how do you bring it, to the people? It becomes the issue of debate. It becomes the politics we are going to play. So it is not about everybody we have like mind. Our like mind is that we are progressive and we want to progress. So whatever that is going to bring on the table to make us progress and attain that thing we want is what everybody want to follow. And you don't have any. Now in Nigeria today, the reason why we are saying let us have autonomy in Nigeria, they say no. Because Igbo people they want good road, they want good hospital, they want international airport, we travel a lot. White people in the north don't travel. They don't go anywhere. If they want to travel, they go to Saudi Arabia. So there is nothing in common. They are not progressive. They are nomadic. Why we are progressive? We want to live in good house. They don't live in good house. They live in the bushes. How do you progress with such kind of diversity? It is absurd. Some people want school. The other people in the north don't want to school. They don't want to study. We have what we call quota system in Nigeria, where somebody in the south will get 200 cutoff marks to study law. He cannot get admission into the university. While somebody in the north will get 80, and he will get admitted. So these are the problems.
Things have evolved. We're in a globalized world, what Marshall McLuhan would call a global village. We use the social media. We communicate instantaneously to our people back home. We're engaging in the same strategies that Gandhi engaged in. Biafra is doing the same lockdown that Gandhi did. Biafra is doing the same civil disobedience that Gandhi did. Ambazonia is doing the same boycotts that Gandhi did. Why should we hail Gandhi as a hero and hail Simon Ekpa and Ivo as non-heroes? It doesn't make any sense to me. But again, I want to make sure that we are tailoring this conversation to the African perspective. I don't want us to tribalize it maybe to Biafra or Nigeria. I know there are people watching from Kenya, people watching from Ethiopia, people watching from other countries. They want to also hear the concerns. We in the diaspora, if I can sit in the diaspora and send money back home to my people, to my family back home, to help them economically, every month I do that, to help my own family whom the government has neglected. If I can help the people back home economically, why shouldn't I help the people back home from abroad politically? Give me a reason why. The government hasn't ever stopped me from helping my family back home, but the government is trying to stifle my freedom from helping political changes, engaging in political changes back home. The government hasn't stopped me, I'm talking at an African perspective, hasn't stopped me from investing back home, but the government has stopped me from investing in political changes back home and has blacklisted and exiled me. So how do you marry these two? The diaspora has a huge concern when it comes to transforming political reforms back home. Look, we are all in the diaspora. We use the social media. The Arab Spring it comes to mind readily, even though it was corrupted at some point when it came to Libya. But I believe that our advocacy for change must start now, not when an election is coming up in the next 7 years. Not when Tinubu has frauded the election, as maybe there could be a debate about Tinubu and Obi, who whatever happens. We should not only talk about it and it dies out. No, let's start planning now for the change we want to see tomorrow. We youths should start publishing pictures of hush puppy in flashy jets and wearing all kinds of Gucci. It doesn't help the transformation of Africa.
Mr. Tapang,
the transformation of Africa are daily debates like this.
Mr. Tapang Ivo, sometimes I wonder if you actually hear me or you are just ignoring me. But I wanted to ask, because you mentioned Gandhi, he was in India, actually abroad, like you said, but he actually didn't impose conditions that affected his fellow Indians. He was in India, like you said, but he did not impose conditions that affected his own citizens. Can you say the same for happenings in the English-speaking parts of Cameroon today?
Again, as Mr. Simon Ekpa has rightly put it, I don't want us to come back to it. We don't have a country. There is no English-speaking regions. We have Amazonia. We have Biafra. We don't have Calabar. We have Biafra. We don't have a country yet. We are fighting for freedom, meaning we don't even have the freedom. And we will never successfully please 100% of people. There will be that Judah in every 12.
Mr. Simon, you have the floor now. Tell us how can we reshape the role of the diaspora in terms of promoting democracy on the continent?
Thank you very much. Actually, Ivo has said a lot of things that is in my mind. But however, I wouldn't say much without addressing Fabric, what he said last. One thing, how do we know the politicians, especially the corrupt one, is when we talk about the sit-at-home civil disobedience, they will be telling you how people are dying. The pregnant women, this is, so whenever you hear them saying this, you know that it's a corrupt politician saying it. Because the same people will not talk about those who are dying when there were no sit-at-home. They didn't tell you how many women died because there is no hospital in their villages. They did not tell you how many people died because they don't have the money to pay to a doctor before doctor can attend to them.
So what makes you different from the government in place that is not providing health care?
That's exactly what I'm saying now.
What makes you different from the governments?
We are going to use every mechanism known to man and known to the devil, if I may use that, to liberate our people from the government, then give them the life they want. And that is exactly, do you prefer a conventional war to this civil disobedience? In Ukraine today, are you going to ask people, why are the bombs dropping there? They are fighting for freedom. These are people who already have independence. They have their own country. Today, they are being invaded. Are you going to say that the women is now, that the president of Ukraine have committed atrocity for engaging Russia, trying to liberate his people? No. You see, when you are talking about a freedom fighting, trying to liberate your people from subjugation, from slavery, you use everything you can just think of. And the only thing you are thinking is to make sure you destroy the enemy.
So does freedom include punishing the same people you are fighting the freedom?
It depends on what you understand by punishing. What do you mean by punishing? Is the punishing you are giving them worse than what?
Lockdowns are not punishments.
There is nothing like punishment here.
Shooting children
no.
It is not punishment.
It is not punishment. It is called measures. Measures. It is not punishment. In our own perspective and from our own context, it is not punishment. It is measures. And those measures are not targeted at our people, but targeted at the government. And remember, the government cannot function without the people. This is something you people should understand. There is no government without the people. So when we are doing these things, we are not targeting our people. It doesn't make sense. We are targeting the government. And let me tell you now, from the Biafra side, we've made Nigeria government lost over $20 billion for the last 2 years. The records are there. So is it the people that are losing the money? The answer is no. Because we still give them the opportunity to do their businesses at the end of the day. So what we are targeting is to also delegitimize the government, making sure that will rubbish the government before international community to show them that they don't have any capacity to control the territory that we are controlling. Today, we have made that very clear, and the international community, everybody knows for the past 2 years, Nigeria government is struggling and threatening people. What about that? They are threatening to shut down market for those who did not open market. So who is now, threatening this citizen? Is it us or the government? The government also threatened to shut down the market. They even killed in Enugu State. They killed many people who did not open their shop. Why are you people not talking about those ones? Why are you focusing on these particular measures that we are putting to delegitimize the government? And it is working for us. So please, when you see politicians like this, they are evil, completely evil.
The point is that, Mr. Simon, we are advocating or talking about change on the continent. And
that is what we are talking about. Change. You can never have change with this kind of mindset. No, you can never have change. You can never have change.
Mr. Simon, please listen. And if we are talking about change, we are looking at people who are different from those who are already there in power, who are still in power. We are not talking about those who come and impose the same thing like you are saying, who will come and impose their decisions, impose their conditions on the people. So let me move right away to Mr. Fabrice Lena. Mr. Fabrice, how can the diaspora utilize the power that they've got? Because whether you like it or not, the diaspora youths, they've got the power, they've got a voice, they've got what it takes to bring about change in their respective countries and across the continent. How can they better utilize this power that they have got?
That here now. More could celebrate our leader because the day before it happen. We are on it. I know near. I could Sirike. I'm to go headquarters na USA, the highest place. Or in Ghana na Russia. I know what one by one. Oh, Queen Mibune, Mezi Fa now was in Yebu. Akatia bupa akakwemna po handicap onye mna tia na ka bupa aka den ye na me na Igbo now isi ni na anu ye isi ni bu commissioner ye we Nigeria.
The best way to go about it is starting from you, the journalist, not being biased in your report, making sure that you push to the public.
That's why we gave you the voice.
But I don't have every right, to say, because I have a lot to say today. I didn't say
no, we bring you on board next time. Like I said, we can talk for the next 10 hours.
Yeah.
But try to balance the panel so that everyone can come on board and share their thoughts.
Yes.
But then we cannot talk the whole time because we have other programs to coming up. So
yes. Anyway, the way to move forward and bring true democracy to Africa is what the Biafra people, of which I am the Prime Minister, is doing. Today, we are inaugurating the Biafra government administrative office in the United States, Maryland, Baltimore. And in next month, we are having the Biafra self-referendum convention, first ever self-referendum convention. It means that we are giving the Biafra people the opportunity to choose by themselves how they want to live. That is the true democracy. When you give the people the opportunity to decide. And so we are doing that and exactly towing that line. So we in Africa, we don't need to start killing. We don't need AK-47 when people say, I don't want again. I don't want to be part of you. It is universal human right. Allow the person to go. You mustn't say you die here with me. No, that is not democracy. If Ambazonia cannot conduct a referendum to decide whether they want to be part of Cameroon, are you going to say it's democracy? If Biafra cannot conduct a referendum and say they don't want to be part of Nigeria again, and you say no, it must be part of Nigeria, that is not democracy. So that's why my own perspective of democracy in Africa, there is no democracy anywhere in Africa, because anytime any group spring up and say we don't want to be part of you again, you go see military there. Anywhere in Africa, we must end in fight. It's not a democracy. So the West, even though every once in a while people use Catalonia to give example, yeah, they're not fighting for freedom, but they have autonomy. They have autonomy. In most of those countries in Africa, they don't even give them autonomy. So we need to begin to see the need to allow people who don't want to be part of you again to go. It is just the same thing like in marriage. When the husband says, I don't want to marry you again, you don't force the person to marry you. Otherwise, it's going to enter your debt. So Africa should look up to Biafra. We are coming. And it is going to happen very, very soon. We are going to lead by example. So everybody should focus on what Biafrans are doing and what we're going to do in the nearest future. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tapang Ivor, what is the way forward for Cameroon, for Africa as a whole? What is the best way to go about instilling democracy on the continent?
Yeah, thanks. I did not know that I was coming on this show to talk about self-determination, fight for the creation of new countries and the rest. I don't think it's even related to the central agenda of today's World Democracy Day. That's another. Let's make another topic for that. I don't know, someday. But I would say there are a couple of key points that I'll gather from everyone seated here. Simon Ekpa mentioned something which was very critical, and I want to emphasize on it. First, the dissolution of borders, tribal borders, is great. But at a national level, I want to make sure that this is done. In the African Declaration, the formation of the African Union, even the SEAT Declaration, the Lagos Plan of Action, that was all rolled out. That at some point, all African countries should dissolve their borders, form a union or an African Union or United States of Africa, where we can have international commerce, international trade. That is a way forward towards staving off bad governance and the rest. Second, democracy comes with its own perk of hypocrisy. And this is the biggest challenge Africa is facing today. France supporting Ukraine, but France will not support the coup that is happening in Niger. France supported the coup that happened in Ukraine in 2014, but will not support the same coup that happens in Niger, nor the coup plotters. France and loggerheads with the United States, all them beacons of democracy. Africa should be ready to face these hypocrites. I would say it as bluntly as it is. Although democracy is good, it's a good political philosophy, why facing this hypocrisy? Why standing out to this hypocrisy? Why standing against this hypocrisy? We must also adopt changes to the kind of democracy we need as Africans. Lastly, I want to also mention that we Africans, like my friend seated here, Fabrice Lena, yeah, you are a politician, but guess what? The politician you're fighting against, Mr. Paul Biya, who is about 92 years old, has ensured that the next upcoming elections is prepared way much in advance for his son to take over. What are you doing right now? What are we youth doing right now? You in the diaspora, what are you posting on your page every day? Are you posting about your fashion show and your new suit, or are you posting about some political changes that you want to see? When we start engaging in political transformation processes, even before the election, we will see a mass mobilization of youths leaning more towards political changes than leaning more towards Afrobeats and all of those nonsense that you guys keep watching on Facebook. This is horrible. I want to summarize here, Mimi. Ask any African youth, oh, why are you not posting about this happening in your country? Why are you not posting? They say, I don't like being there on politics here. I don't like this and nonsense. That's politics is for you. That is the African mindset. But when election comes, Peter Obi the election has been rigged, and Peter Obi is no longer the choice or whatever. You see him going on Facebook, shouting and crying, fraud, 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 election rigging. No, these guys plan 5-7 years in advance. We Africans, if we want that change, we must start now.
Oh, thank you very much, Mimi. Before going to addressing that your question, I would like to respond to my friend from Amazonia. He mentioned about tailoring Africa democracy to suit our own, way of life, and maybe we have to tailor the Africa democracy according to the norms and customs of Africa people. I would be very pleased if in his next response he can just mention one country in Africa that is practicing a true democracy and that is even close or closer to what he defined as what should be the true democracy for Africa, or to mention one Africa country that have tailored this particular democracy that suit their own custom and norms. None country in Africa has actually done that. So having said that, when you look at the present democracy in Africa, I will take Nigeria, for example. Nigeria, according to the African people, they say is the giant of Africa, I believe. So when we are making reference to Africa, Nigeria should be one of the, the country that we can take solace from. So Nigeria, for example, in the last election, it is not just about last election, but in the last general election and the previous elections and other elections since 1999, every election ends to the court of law. Is that what we should be proud of, to call a democracy, where the people will go out to vote, they will be butchered, then after that, someone who may have not even participated in the election will be sitting somewhere in the name of being a judge. And then people will go to the judge and the judge will decide who win election and who lost the election. This is happening almost everywhere in Africa. That is not a democracy. He is living in the United States, and I believe that, he should have, give me a very good instances of where some of these kind of elections in the United States end up to the court of law. We know that there are disputes sometimes arising from the elections, maybe election malpractices, or someone will have a divergent view about the outcome of the election. You would like to seek a redress. But in every African country, almost every African country, there is always chaos, there is always killings, there is always bloodshed, bloodbath during the election. And those who have more weapons or more talks, political talks, always win the election. And he is from Cameroon, today fighting for Ambazonia. And in his own country, I believe the current president of Cameroon have been there for over 30 years. Every 8 years or every 4 years, he imposed himself on the people of Cameroon. Is that what he should be saying? Africa is a good democracy and he is fighting for the freedom of Ambazonian people. I want to also make one point here, very clear today. It is only the Republic of Biafra, only in the history of Africa, that has gone closer to what we call democracy. Because in 1969, the Republic of Biafra drafted a constitution that was almost the best in the entire Africa.
So, Mr. Teppo, is this something that you want to step in and say?
Yeah, it's something I would like to respond.
He's not respond, but please. This constitution of Biafra draws this particular democratic principles from our custom and the culture. It is there. Yeah. So, and because of this particular drawing this particular solace from our culture and custom, the West, of course, they envied Biafra, and Biafra, was defeated by Western powers during the war between Nigeria and Biafra, genocidal war. So we know all this. It is in the history.
Yeah, let me.
And that's the reason somebody like me is today pursuing the independent state of Biafra, so that we are going to bring a true democracy to Africa, where the voice of the people will be heard, and not just when you go to the ballot box, someone out there in the court will now decide who becomes the winner. And even as that, the judges are corrupt. We're talking about how can we delegitimize the government that are oppressing our people within our land. So it is not about democracy. It is when we have gotten our independence, we are going to practice the true democracy that will be drawn from our normal traditional rule models and whatever we want to do it to make it work for us. So
how do you give power to the people? How do you give power to the people?
It is not about, you don't give power to the people during a freedom fighting. You are fighting war.
You're fighting for freedom.
You cannot give power to the people. You need to make sure you control the territory that the enemies and the oppressors are using to kill your people. First of all, control it by any means possible.
Let me come in.
Your rights as well.
Let me come in. The mere fact that we're talking about Ambazonia exists as a nation dating back to 1961, known as the former British Southern Cameroons. I want to go into the nitty-gritties, but Mr. Simon is absolutely right. If we're talking about functional states recognized by the United Nations, non-functional states that have not been recognized but seeking for their self-determination should not even be considered in the debate of a democracy, because we are freedom fighters. We are fighting to have freedom, which is a fundamental tenet of democracy.
You know, I like this. Please, nobody should interrupt me, because this is a very good one. The way we are going to make Africa work and bring true democracy, either the democracy of using our own, modus of democracy, like our own cultural and traditional norms, is by losing up, disintegrating Africa along tribal lines. That is number one step. Africa needs to be disintegrated along tribal lines so that you are going to have a nation with like-minded people, without anybody having a beef, without anybody not understanding your language, without anybody coming to the table where he is eating rice and you are eating a pounded yam, or that you don't understand what he's talking about when he is discussing with his brother. So we need to disintegrate Africa. This is what Europeans did. And they know the secret to the success of their democracy. Because once you have a divergent, if you have a diversity that is a very dangerous one, it can never work. Because everybody will want to, he wants something he wants for his people to happen. And it may be going the other way, conflicting the interest of the other. So for us to move forward in Africa, we need to begin to understand, what did the Europeans do? What did the Europeans do to come to where they are today? They disintegrated along tribal lines. That's why in Scandinavia today, they have different languages. As smaller as they are independent. The Soviet Union fell and everybody disintegrated because they could not stand the heat of the diversity. When the diversity becomes so dangerous, it is what is happening in Africa today. So for us to move forward, please, for us to move forward, like I said, we start from, I have been saying it, that Biafra is going to be the beginning of true democracy in Africa. And I repeat, I'm standing here to say it again, because in Biafra, once Biafra is actualized and becoming an independent state, we are going to have a loosed up confederation of Biafra, where every tribe, if I will use the word tribe, or every ethnic group that finds himself in Biafra will have independence and will have autonomy. They are going to have their own law.
Yes, Mr. Simon, let me ask you another question here.
That is the only way and the only time democracy.
Okay, Mr. Simon, are you saying that all the Igbo people should think alike?
I disagree.
No. It is not about everybody, Igbo people thinking alike. No, but we have one common thing. We have one thing in common: progressive, success.
Can I speak?
Okay? The issue now is, how do we attain progress? It becomes the issue to be debated. It becomes the issue to be debated within the government. Okay?
Yes, we have to
these policies are coming clearly. These policies
has to talk a little bit before
can you just stop interrupting, please? Every Igbo man wants to have a good road. Every Igbo man wants to go to a good school. Every Igbo man wants a good hospital. Every Igbo man wants a good life. So how do you bring it, to the people? It becomes the issue of debate. It becomes the politics we are going to play. So it is not about everybody we have like mind. Our like mind is that we are progressive and we want to progress. So whatever that is going to bring on the table to make us progress and attain that thing we want is what everybody want to follow. And you don't have any. Now in Nigeria today, the reason why we are saying, let us have autonomy in Nigeria, they say no. Because Igbo people they want good road, they want good hospital, they want international airport. We travel a lot. White people in the north don't travel. They don't go anywhere. If they want to travel, they go to Saudi Arabia. So there is nothing in common. They are not progressive. They are nomadic. While we are progressive, we want to live in good house. They don't live in good house. They live in the bushes. How do you progress with such kind of diversity? It is absurd. Some people want school. The other people in the north don't want to school. They don't want to study. We have what we call quota system in Nigeria, where somebody in the South will get 200 cutoff marks to study law, he cannot get admission into the university. While somebody in the North will get 80, and he will be admitted. So these are the problems.
I don't think we should tribalize this debate. Let's look at it from an African perspective. Let's not tribalize this debate.
I will disagree here with you. No, I will have to disagree with you because we also have citizens in the far north region of Cameroon. And in Cameroon, the far north region is one of the, I should say, the places in the country where illiteracy rate is very high. Development is almost inexistent. There are bad roads. Access to potable water is not even possible. And then we have Boko Haram also in the far north region. So because of this situation, you cannot say that it is existing because the people do not want development. It's because of bad governance. And that is what.
And who are the governors? And who are those governing?
The government, those in
Please,
power.
Can we stop tribalizing the debates? Let's look at it from the African perspective. There are other countries.
Feeling of love, will come of privilege. The wheat emboldened of shall always be of
The way they react for this video, they react with happiness because we don't see what they find. Now they don't mount Biafra headquarters for waiting for Baltimore, for Maryland, for USA. Just they wait. From now, you go see here another places, another big country. Moku they tell them now Russia now they go now to go mountain very soon. Make una see what happened yesterday. Make una see what happened yesterday. No be play. When I say anybody won't come, make they put their hand. Share this video if you see them. Share this video if you see them. Everyone don't come out because if you they come.
Thank you, Majesty. The next in our agenda, our program, is welcome address by Minister of Foreign Affairs and introduction of every other minister in house. This is Attorney Jane Onyenechi Ikezi from the attorney.
I know that I may be competing with the podium height-wise, so just right? I've stood in front of crowds throughout my life, but I am most honored to stand before all of you here. I'm very, very proud to be here amongst all of you. My name is Jane Onyenechi Ikezi. I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diplomacy. Is it working? Can you hear me? No.
I hear you.
Let's make this work. This is a once in a lifetime thing. Okay, we only open once.
Yes.
Okay, can you all hear me now? Yes. Excellent, thank you. All right, so I was saying that I am most proud in my entire life, standing in front of the crowd and speaking. This is my proudest moment, being here for this very historic moment. So I'm very proud to be amongst all of you. And I thank you for sticking it through the promotions and all of that. That's just one of the things in life that happens. And as you can see, the beam has balanced. So we'll move forward from here. My name again is Attorney Jane Onyenechi Ikezi. I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diplomacy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the inauguration and unveiling of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile's Administration Office. And I've heard it called Biafran House. There are many names we could call it, but the important thing is that this belongs to Biafran people. This office represents something very, very important for all of us. This office is symbolic of our freedom. It is an honor for it to be here, to be convened here in North America, in these United States, and in the state of Maryland.
Right.
Your presence here today, oh, this is much better. Your presence here today is a culmination of many years of struggle, dedication, and diligence of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, General Odumegwu Ojukwu, General Philip Effiong, and all our fallen men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Now, we continue in that sacred path under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Everyone here today to witness this milestone is considered VIP, no matter where you're sitting. So thank you all very much. Thank you all very much for gracing us with your presence. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of our Eastern Security Network, ESN, and Biafra Liberation Army, BLA. For their continued service in protection of Biafra land and its people. Thanks to ESN and BLA, we are forever grateful. Your protection of our people and the protection of our people and defense of our land is why we must continue to financially support and sustain and enable them fight our enemies. A big thank you goes to our Prime Minister, His Excellency Simon Ekpa, for his courage in taking up the mantle of leadership amongst chaos and leading Biafrans with dignity, passion, and wisdom. Thanks to the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB all over the world, who have supported our agitation to restore the sovereign state of Biafra. Thanks to the media team of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile and all our supporters all over the world. Thanks also to the committee responsible for organizing today's event. I would like to thank, is it working? Yeah. I would like to thank all our cabinet members in attendance for their support. A special thanks to Finance Minister Mazi Ogechukwu, whose hard work and dedication is a major part of this office opening. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Are we good? Okay, good. Okay, we'll take it again. I would like to thank all the cabinet members in attendance for their support. A special thanks to Finance Minister Mazi Ogechukwu, whose hard work and dedication is a major part of this office opening. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continues to be an inspiration to us, and his hard work and dedication has led to this historic moment. We know that he is here with us in spirit, and his words continue to be a guiding light in everything we do. His struggles, toils, and unjust persecution will never be in vain. Likewise, the sacrifices of our forebears will never be in vain. After the Nigerian Biafran War, General Philip Biafians said to Nigeria, if you don't treat their children well, if you don't treat them well, their children will rise up against you. Those words have come to haunt Nigeria and its cohorts, because we have risen and will continue to rise until the dreams of our forebears become reality. We cannot forget the important role of women in our liberation struggle. The Aba Women's Riot of 1929 remains a major part of our history, and those women have been exemplary to me, as well as the entire Umuada. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu always said that the day our women rise up will be the turn of events for this struggle. We thank Umuada and their leader, Madam Asluka Wankwo, for being here to support the Biafra Republic government in exile. They have worked hard over the years to keep the fight going. Part of our goal in service of our people is to unite us as Biafrans and continue to build on our common values. The die is cast, and as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu always said, we must remain steadfast and resolute. Despite all obstacles, trials, and tribulations we encounter, we must remember the words of General Odumegwu Ojukwu. Nothing can shake the will or crush the spirit of a determined people, and we are indeed determined. The Biafra Republic government in exile is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. For those who are still teetering between Biafra and an illusionary one Nigeria, we remain our brothers' keepers and welcome you to join us in the path of truth, justice, and freedom. Onyayara Wanea is an adage from one of our Biafran ethnic groups, and it simply means no one should leave his brother behind. We have come a long way, but there is still work to be done. We are special people with innate ability for self-preservation and have exhibited it over the years. After the Nigerian Biafran War, Biafrans had money. No matter how much money Biafrans had in the bank, they were only given 20 pounds to start afresh. However, we were able to build ourselves, our communities, and Nigeria as a whole. Our human resources are far greater than our mineral resources. We can and will restore and sustain a sovereign state of Biafra. The Biafran sun is a light that will continue to guide all of Africa into the next phase of civilization. I am grateful to serve you all as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diplomacy of the Biafra Republic government in exile. Welcome again, and thank you for being a part of the inauguration and unveiling of the Biafra Republic government in exile's first administration office.
Down with Nigeria.
Nigeria, my foot.
Peace, unity,
as we know, we started so late, so we are trying to hurry up and get everything included and have our fun later. So the next thing now is to introduce the all right. We we have some of our ministers here, some. What I will do, if I don't remember, not that I don't remember, my mind comes and go. Let me put it like that so that you won't blame me. If I will remember your name as one of our ministers, please beat me up. Just I'm kidding. Just raise your hand so that I'll recognize you. I'm going to start from the table here. We have Finance Minister Mazi Oge Nkere. So we have yes, the only.
The one and only. Okay? The one and only.
Okay. Madam Asoka. We have Dr. Ebere. She's everywhere. I don't know which one. Cultural Minister. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey. Madam everyone. Madam everyone. Mama. She is everywhere. Madam Eriwa is from Coastal region. So she's the minister of the Coastal region. Thank you. She want to say hello in her language. Okay.
That's a French coastal language. Yes. Isi wado. Mini minyenya on my way de mokanga o. Ichakiri mokanga o. Mokitwana o. Eyes on. Eyes on. Eyes on. Biafra, they go get. Yes. Yes. Isoko wado. Isoko wado. Mini wado. Mini wado. Mini miyenyo. Mini Biafra kanyo. Ibikodo. Ituwa o. Ìwé tún wà o, ìwé wà wẹ́sẹ̀ o, ìwé Biafra láre o, ẹjọ́ sàápà o, èmi ọ̀tá ẹ̀sìn o, ìtún wà o, yé.
I'm going to slap myself since nobody said to beat me. I forgot. Was it Chief Charles Wankwo? Forgive me. Forgive me. Chief Mazi Charles Wankwo is the Secretary of State. Forgive me. Okay. Professor Chioma Okoma is member for ministry and health department. Thank you. Ahead of the radical group. I don't know. Who is member health department minister? Where is Amobi? We have Amobi, member Ministry of Transportation. Transport and logistics. Yes. Forgive me.
Yes, sir.
Any other person that I'm omitting, please. Hi, Solomon. I'm sorry about that. Minister Mazi Solomon. Yes. Mazi Solomon Watcher, Minister of Intelligence. Yes. Instruction. Okay. Forgive me if I'm omitting anybody. Anybody else in here? Okay. Oh. Okay. I think I've introduced. Oh, okay. Myself. Ruby Nadi, Dr. Ruby Nadi, Minister of Education. The next one will be introduction of our Prime Minister by our Egbe. Introduction of our Prime Minister. Hey, Odogunwoke. Let me introduce. Okay. Yes. Okay. Egbe, AJ Job. Madam Castle. This time, and let me tell you, we're not playing anymore because Biafra is a state, is a nation that must exist, and there is nothing any human being can do about it. We are equal to the task. We are making things happen, and I know that God is with us. And I must tell you, as the defense minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile, that Nigerian government is hearing it. Our Prime Minister, he used to say that he's going to show Nigeria what. And that is what they are receiving. And it's either they leave us to go or we come with another style, because we have entered a new dimension. That dimension is where we are today. I must thank our leader, Mazi Nandekanu, who conscientized the whole indigenous people of Biafra to tell them where they belong. the people of Hausa, Yoruba, and then the Biafran people know that Nigeria does not work. And I must tell you, the amalgamation of Nigeria, of all the indigenous people of that contraption called Nigeria, does not work. The marriage is no longer working. And when marriage is not working, what do you do? So we are to the first Nigeria, and there is nothing any human being can do about it. Therefore, I must tell you guys that we've worked so hard. And if you do not understand it, there are some recent events that have been happening, and the Nigerian government is feeling it. The international community is feeling it. And there is nothing they can do about it. We must tell you that we are moving. I want to thank the Biafran Republic government in exile for the wonderful work they have done. They have done a lot, and we've reached a very serious milestone. And with that, I must tell you guys that our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, did a lot. He has shown us the way, and our own is to follow the path. And I will equally let you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did a tremendous job because he wanted everybody to be free. Yes. He never started fighting for Biafra. He started his fight for the Hausa people when they were being slaughtered indiscriminately. He started, and he has done a lot. Okay, so with that, I will equally tell you that he has a son. He has a representative. He saw in him the man who saw tomorrow is what I call Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He saw a man that I've been opportune to work with every now and then. The honest man I've ever seen. A man that shakes the bone of a lion.
That's right.
A man that moves the mountain. A man that, in fact, I call him the 7-man squad, and I probably call him my brother, because we've been able to work in a very cordial relationship. He is a friend. He is a brother, I usually call him. And the relationship between what we are doing for Biafran people speaks very loud. And with that, I want to welcome the handsome judge. I want to introduce is it coming from? Yeah. We want to connect him so that he can speak to Biafran people. Yes, we are waiting for him. Yes. Are we waiting for him to show up? Thank you, Albina Temba. I wish to give you the microphone.
The Prime Minister with a sword. This is your time. Your friends are waiting for you. Go ahead, Prime Minister.
Can someone check on the sound of this and make sure it's working? It sounds fine. Yeah, it's delayed.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Madam iPad.
All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can they hear me?
Yes.
All right. All right. You can also put the phone. I wish to first of all express my sincere gratitude to all of you who graced this particular inauguration and occasion of the opening of the Biafra Embassy or administrative office in the United States of America. The opening of this office today is part of the struggle for independence state of Biafra. And we have very carefully selected this day, which happens to be the World Democracy Day. Your presence tonight is extremely extremely encouraging. Indeed, the administrative office of the Biafra in the United States will officially be open today, which is the 15th day of September 2023. And myself, as the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic of Exile, joining you today, virtually from Finland. We believe that the establishment of the administrative office of the United States will contribute and further strengthen the already existing awareness created so far, and will facilitate friendly relations and possibly diplomatic ties between Biafra and the United States in the nearest future. We also believe that our presence in the United States will enhance coordination among possible bilateral and multilateral donors and agreements who are or will be dedicated to the liberation and the development of Biafra. Taking this opportunity, let me briefly explain to you some historical aspects of the connection between Biafra and the United States. The cradle of our connection can be traced back to the 1969, during the Biafra-Nigeria genocidal war. Few years into the Biafra genocidal war, where Nigeria committed one of the worst genocide after the Holocaust. A man called Mr. Bruce Merrick set himself on fire. He set himself ablaze on the lawn of the United Nations headquarters in protest of the Biafra war. This happened just 54 years ago in the United States. And same year, the United States government began to turn its back on Nigeria by rejecting numerous requests by General Gowon back then for the United States not to allow Red Cross flight airplane to bring aid, relief aid to the people of Biafra. The event was unfolding without the knowledge of the Biafra leaders. In that year, the United States started showing sympathy for Biafra. Those Biafrans who were in the United States who supposed to have represented the interests of Biafra people in great Biafra. Today, we have many of such people and individuals in the United States. Just a few months ago, one of such persons came to the facility today that we are inaugurating this Biafra administrative office and took away Biafra flag. I want to thank most of the ministers here, the Minister of Finance, whom I appointed to take charge of making sure that this facility is efficient and well equipped to serve Biafra globally. He has done a great job starting from making successful negotiations for the facility. He played a very big and vital role in the establishment of this office. I equally wish to appreciate the Defense Secretary, Honorable Madam Ago Gachaswampo, who was also on the phone with me 24/7, making sure that things are going the right way. The same thing goes to the Chief of Staff, who also work around the clock and behind the scene to see the Biafra cabinet are burning fire. I can't forget a man called Mazi Ima Madegun, who stood very gallantly from the onset of this journey. My gratitude goes to the entire cabinet of the Biafra Republic of Exile. The idea was realized by the creation of the advisory committee, which which I besought after serving its purpose. I can't be pleased without appreciating some of the U.S. political leaders who were invited and they responded to our invitation to the unveiling of the inauguration of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile Administrative Office in Maryland today. People like Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, U.S. Senator Chris Coons, U.S. Senator Giannis Shania, U.S. Rep. Michael McCall, Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, U.S. Senator John Barrasso, Chairman of the State Republic Conference, U.S. Representative Richmond Clinic, Congresswoman Jen Peters, Senator Cumming, and Congressman Savant. They all responded with gratitude and wishes. They wish they were all here today, but because of their schedules, and of course we remember today is the World Democracy Day. I would also appreciate the Foreign Affairs Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile for reaching out to these leaders in the United States. I would like to mention equally that the visit of many important Biafra figures today to grace this particular inauguration of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile Administrative Office in Maryland will play an important role in deepening the awareness we are creating for Biafra liberation in the United States and beyond. My appreciation goes to His Excellency, the Supreme Leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Mazen Amigano, who has been incarcerated illegally by the Nigerian government since 2021. All of our liaison officers and staff, ambassadors and ministers, continental reps, country admins, I am very much grateful to all of you who have contributed to the establishment of this our administrative office in the United States today. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable ministers, excellencies, ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen of the Biafra people, let me now touch a little bit on the Biafra plight in Nigeria and the need for the liberation of Biafra. After a series of programs in which people from the former eastern region of Nigeria living in other parts of Nigeria were massacred between 1966 to 1967. The region of Biafra seceded in 1967 and proclaimed an independent Republic of Biafra. A bitter war ensued as Nigeria fought to foil the secession of the rich oil region of Biafra. After 3 years of war and the loss of more than 5 million people, the leader of the Biafra Republic, Chief went to exile, but later returned to Nigeria in 1983 under special pardon. In 1969, Biafra adopted one of the most progressive national constitutions in Africa at that time. The constitution or principles drawn heavily from the traditional communal mode of governance, but was also informed by the progressive political development in other parts of the world in the 60s. The ideology of the non-alignment adopted by the several post-colonial states during the World War, it also provided a platform for the country to criticize the West for its role in the plight of the rest of the world and to set out the views of the young nation. This dream is very much alive today, even stronger than it was during the Biafra War. History is somehow repeating itself time and for this time in a positive way. Of the Biafra people. It is stated truth. Our struggles have so far reached significant. It is the latest recompense in our time of the age-old struggle of the black man for his full stature as a man. We are the latest victims of a wicked commission between the three traditional codes of the black man: racism, Arab, Muslim expansionism, and the white economic imperialism, playing a subsidiary role in the boxing Russia seeking for a place in Africa. Today, Russia is back in Africa, but this time around, Biafra is in the positive side. Today has collapsed. Our struggle is a total vehement rejection of all those evils which blanket Nigeria, evil which were bound to lead to the disintegration of that ill-prepared federation. Our struggle is not a mere resistance that would be purely negative. It is a positive commitment to build a healthy, dynamic, and progressive state, such as would be the pride of the black man. Today, Russia is seeking a place in Africa, and Biafra is up again with the highest momentum. Difference is that this time around it is positively turning towards the Biafra interest. Fortunately, Biafra people have strong ownership of the determination towards self-help. Based on our experience of having recovered from a completely devastated situation after the Civil War, as well as having successfully migrated to almost all countries of the world, collaborating and contributing to their economic and social development. We believe that Biafra can overcome all handicaps and difficulties with its ownership and self-help effort. We also wish that our experience would be useful for the development of Biafra, as we have witnessed in the government of Biafra in exile so far. Biafra government in exile has been strengthening its engagement in part of the world by opening liaison offices and establishing its presence. In conclusion, as Biafra gets ready to once again take the shock of liberation and independence, we hope that this exit will be held in a peaceful way. And Nigeria or any other nation or any other entity that may emanate from Nigeria continues to be our important partners in the international community, sharing the common ideals of democracy and freedom. Today, on behalf of the Biafra people, I wish to dedicate this particular office, historic office of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile Administrative Office in the United States, to a man who gave his life fighting for Biafra people in the name of Mr. Bruce Merok. Bruce Merok. May God